Hey everybody, what is up? This is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me for this next episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about how to approach your health and fitness goals if you have in the past had a poor relationship with your body. Maybe you had really bad relationship with food. Maybe you were overtraining, doing a lot of the things that are actually really bad for your physical body and for your mindset as well. Just like myself, I did this stuff for many, many years. I was really obsessed with exercise, really obsessed with foods, but also I got past that. And at one point when I got past that, I wanted to make some changes. And I wanted to talk about this because I think that there are listeners out there who are dealing with the same thing. And I know I have a couple of clients too who come from a really similar background. And sometimes it's really like I'm feeling like I'm talking to, I don't know, my twin sister or something like that when I'm talking to some of them, because I can absolutely understand their thought process, their fears. So today is going to be all about how to approach your health and fitness and maybe diet too, if you have had these issues in the past, because it can be quite scary to commit to like changing your body composition when you know that, oh my goodness, I did this crazy stuff in the past and I don't want to get back there again. So before that, I want to remind you that my Fit and Fuel Facebook is waiting for you to join the group, because it's an awesome place to be if you have healthy fitness goals, right? We're not doing fat diets. We're not doing quick fixes. We're not cutting out carbs. We're not cutting out dairy. We're not doing any of the stuff. So we are changing our body composition. We're getting stronger. We're getting fitter, and we're eating real food most of the time. But of course, treats too, all the good stuff as well. I want to keep this like really healthy, very positive group. We talk quite about hormones there. Also, stress reductions is not only about fitness. So if your goals are in line with what I just told you about, getting stronger and getting fitter without losing your hormonal health, without losing your mental health, then you should definitely join the group. Okay, so let's then talk about today's topic. And I have some tips for you how you can approach your new health and fitness goals if you have this past that I just previously described. However, before I get there, I thought I would give you a little bit of my background, and maybe some of you are already familiar with this, but I'm not going to get into the long story with, a decade of overtraining and all that. But I want to talk about more about this moment where, I had to gain a lot of weight in order to recover from my hormonal issues. And then, I gained the weight. I felt quite uncomfortable, but I was like, well, I guess that's what I had to do. I had to do whatever, right? I kind of was accepting it. But there became a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm ready to do something about it. I kind of want to lose some body fat. I want to get fitter because I had lost a lot of my athleticism, my strength, and just didn't feel well. And of course, I wanted to get back into better shape, but also I had this like big, like red flag here, which was like, but I don't want to do crazy stuff anymore, because I had just gotten to the other side of it, having more food freedom, probably too much food freedom, just eating everything all the time, nonstop. But I didn't want to go back to like what I had done in the past, right? Like HIIT training 7 days a week and just absolutely exhausting cardio and always watching my food and only eating salads, only like when I ate out, always only salads with nothing. Now I'm like, oh my God, give me the burger. I love burgers. But anyway, so I was like, so afraid, right? I wanted to change something, but I was like, oh, is this going to be so hard? Am I going to like lose my period again? Am I going to be obsessed with food again? Because I don't want that. So the question was, how do I navigate all this, right? How can I change my body composition without going crazy again? And I think that for me, it was just like black or white type of thing. It was like you're either obsessed with everything that you do, or just that things go loose, because these had been the two extremes that I knew, right? So when I was overtraining, I was on one side of the story. And then when I let everything go, I was on the other side of the story. So now I was like eating all the time. And, I've said that many times, like, let's have froyo for dinner 3 days a week, that type of stuff. So it's like this spectrum, right? I went from one end to the other. And I didn't realize that there's a middle ground, but there is. And when I first started tracking macros, it was really cool, because I was a little bit apprehensive at first when my friend told me about it. She was a macro coach at a time. And I was honestly like really scared. I was like, is this going to be a crazy thing again? Am I going to have to be hungry? And she said, you know what, let's try. If you don't like it, you can always drop it. Go back to what you did before. Cool. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then I remember she set my macros, and I started following them. And I remember that I was able to actually start seeing weight loss results eating 2150 calories. I know for many of you, this is like, what? Like, this is, I've never eaten this much, but keep in mind that I had eaten very, very freely and not dieted for several years. So for me, this was what gave me fat loss. And it was really awesome. I was like, wait a minute, I can still eat quite, good amount. And I can still eat out once a week. And then she also gave me a workout plan, which included strength training, and my focus became more like not like how do I burn more calories, but how can I get stronger? And I started seeing how doable this was. And for me, this was the middle ground. This was like, oh my goodness, how come I didn't know about this before? I don't have to be obsessive. I don't have to go crazy. I don't have to only eat at home. I don't have to say no to everything. But also, I'm not like, eating like pizza and ice cream every single day. And I'm actually looking at what I'm eating, and I'm consistent with my training. And I was like, oh, wow, you can get results like that. And this is where I kind of fell in love with this thing and realized that as long as my mindset was good, I was able to get those results. And this was now, let's say, over 3 years ago when I started doing this. And honestly, it hasn't been hard. It hasn't been like, once you learn the things and once you keep your mindset right, you're doing well. And I can tell that I think I'm doing really well. I'm really happy with where I am right now with my health. So, but of course, some mindset changes had to happen. And the first thing for me was when I committed to tracking macros, I told myself that I'm not going to have like a massive like weight loss goal. I didn't even own a scale back then. And I was like, I'm going to see where it's going to take me. Kind of like, yeah, kind of cool. We'll see. We'll figure it out. And I didn't set myself this like 10 pounds by the end of April, something like that. It was like, we'll see how this goes. And when I had this like relaxed mindset about it, where when I sometimes let myself go over these numbers and I was still seeing results, I was like, this is really, really cool, right? So one of these things, one of these mindset shifts was exactly this, right? I'm not going to be obsessed. I'm not going to set myself like hard deadlines by when I have to look a certain way. It was more relaxed. Let's see where it's going to take me. And I think this is really important for those who have a similar background, who have had this like crazy obsessive, like everything has to be calculated perfectly and done perfectly. If you can approach this new fitness goal with this mindset, you're going to do so much better. Now, what are some other tips? And now let's get a little bit more specific, like some little more specific mindset tools. So first thing I would say, it's important that you focus on fueling your body, not starving it, right? Because starvation was the old mindset that we did. And when I say we, I mean like people who have a similar past to myself, right? And when you think about it this way, I'm going to fuel my body. I'm going to give it what it needs. I'm going to take care of it, right? What does that look like? Versus like, I'm going to starve myself. So a lot of times people have this association when they think about macro tracking. They're like, oh, I can't do this because I remember how terrible I used to starve myself. And I'm telling them, why does it have to be about starvation? It doesn't have to be about starvation. So if you're here to improve your health, to feel better, to build muscle, which a lot of these people need, is now your approach is going to be different. I'm going to fuel myself. Oh, that sounds cool. How does that look like? That looks like eating breakfast. That looks like eating nutrient-dense foods. That looks like eating regularly. That looks like eating something sweet if this is what your body wants, if this is what your soul craves sometimes. That's what fueling looks like, right? Also, a good nutrient quality. Am I getting eggs and red meat because I know that this stuff is really good for my body? Right? Am I getting vegetables because I know this is really good for my digestive system, my blood sugar? Like the approach is like, I'm gonna actually take care of myself instead of like starving. I'm not gonna eat this, I'm not gonna eat that. This is out the window, I cannot have that. See how the approach is totally different. So when you approach it with, I'm gonna fuel my body instead of starve, then you can do it, right? All right, then the next thing, strength over weight loss. So even if you have a physique change goal, even if you want to lose body fat, I still want you to go to the gym with a goal of building strength. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to put some muscle on and keep that as your focus. Don't go there thinking, how much weight did I lose when I did this workout? Because as I mentioned before too, if you choose your workouts based on weight loss only, you're going to choose the wrong workout, because then you're going to jump on your cardio machines and you're going to do HIIT class and all that. I want your single focus to be, I'm going to build strength. Well, not maybe single. Also, stay like physically, like really mobile and healthy, right? So you don't beat the crap out of yourself every time you go to a gym. But yes, the main focus is strength and enjoying these numbers going up instead of looking at how's my scale going down, scale weight going down. Look at, are my strength numbers going up? And actually, this is my next point. If you need to, let go of the scale. Don't include that at all. And this was me too when I started with macros. I didn't even have a scale. A couple of clients who I have right now who are with a similar past, they don't weigh themselves. And I think this is great because this isn't about the scale. If you're really telling me that I want to get stronger, I want to get fitter, then it may not have much to do with the scale at all. So let go of the scale if you need to and focus on your strength. Focus on how it carries, what kind of impact it has on your life outside of the gym too, right? Can you do some stuff physically that you couldn't do before, right? See how that goes instead of always getting on the scale and obsessing over the number, because I think you have a pretty long history with that. I know I did. I was always 62 kilograms, can't get more than that, then it's a bad thing. Now I'm like, whatever, right? Not exactly whatever, right? I don't want to be like high body fat and super heavy. So I don't mean it this way, but I'm not like so obsessed and so stuck with one number, right? That I have to weigh on the scale. The next thing that I want you to keep in mind, if you have a past like this, is to focus on having more freedom instead of adding more structure, because people like this, they are very, very structured anyway. And now if they get extremely stuck with numbers, it can become very obsessive again. So for example, if I give you a goal, hey, I would like you to eat 130 grams of protein per day, then it's okay if you're not always eating 130 grams of protein. If you're one day 135 and the other day 122, you'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine. So I want you to practice freedom instead. I can go over, I can be a little bit under, because I know that your mindset, when I'm talking to this person specifically, is like very much structure, structure, structure. I cannot be off either way or I'm a bad person. Like this is unfortunately how a lot of people think, but it's not like that. So I want you to practice being more relaxed, practice giving yourself more freedom instead of being extremely, obsessed with hitting every single number perfectly. Now, just a side note, I will say that tracking, especially for those who don't have this path that I'm talking about, you have to be quite accurate when you're tracking, when you're using macro tracking for your fat loss, right? You can't be like, oh, whatever, I'm like over my carbs by 70 grams. No, that's not going to work. I'm talking to that person who has this past with like very, very restrictive everything, structured everything. For them, adding more freedom will benefit them. Okay. Then another thing that I think is very helpful is sometimes to take days off from tracking. So go enjoy life, don't track everything. Please don't bring your food scale to the restaurant. That's not good. And just enjoy life and trust yourself. Trust yourself that nothing bad is going to happen if you don't get your numbers exactly, right? You have to train this. And sometimes I even tell people, you got to kind of rebel against your own tendencies. When your tendency is to be like so rigid and so tight all the time, then you have to just be like a little bit of a rebel. Hey, I'm going to go against this a little bit. Let's see what's going to happen. It's like mental training, because I think at the end of the day, nobody wants to track forever. And you have to train, you have to learn how to trust yourself more. So you're not like tied to a tracking app or food scale all the time. All right. Another thing is to enjoy the results that you are seeing outside of your physique, right? Outside of even strength numbers. Although I said that strength numbers are a really cool thing to look at and, focus on that, but also see how are you feeling when you're making these changes that I was just talking about, especially fueling your body and getting stronger. And I hear it all the time. People are telling me, I'm a better parent. I'm a better wife, right? I have more patience. I don't have to think about food so much. I have more room now to add in the things that I like. And therefore, the overall effect is that I'm more relaxed, a more chill person. People like to be around me a little bit more. I didn't obsess, if I had to grab something when I was on the go, I had to buy something from a store, because a lot of people are like, I can only eat at home and like my homemade meals. And if I don't, something's wrong. They're like, you know what? I was out and about, and instead of like starving myself, I grabbed something at a grocery store. It wasn't a perfect choice, but I at least I got it in. People are just like noticing how they're more relaxed overall. They're like, oh, there's a little bit of freedom in here. Not everything has to be so rigid and so tight all the time. So enjoy the results that you get, that you see, that have nothing to do with your workouts or with your food, and you see that, you know, it is paying off in many areas of your life. And the last point that I want to make here is to stay aware and recognize when you start seeing some red flags, right? So if you have this past with like obsessing over your body composition, and maybe had body dysmorphia, and you're like, you've always been extremely rigid and strict, then you have to pay attention when you start doing like some behaviors that you know got you in trouble, you know, before. And I gotta say that people that I'm working with, and myself included, actually I haven't had this issue, but I just want you to be aware, because when they started working with me, they were far away from this past when they did all this stuff, right? So I want to make sure that person has absolutely nothing, no eating disorder or no like past bad behaviors anymore at all. Because if I sense that there might be something going on, I'm just not able to work with them, not going to. So most people have really, really moved away from that, but I still want you to be aware. Like if you start beating yourself up over like missing a couple of grams of protein, or if you start, you know, I've heard some extreme things that people do, like put some food in their mouth and spit it out, you know, like something really kind of unhealthy habits, like you know, very, very bad habits, then you have to be aware. You have to be able to bring them up with your coach and then work through this. And the coach, if she's not qualified in eating disorders, which I'm not, has to refer you to somebody for you to get help, because it doesn't happen. Like I said, I haven't seen it in my coaching, but I think it is a possibility if the person hasn't given herself enough time to move away from these past crazy behaviors before she started, you know, the nutrition and the fitness, you know, new goals again. So these are my tips for people who have had this body image issue, this overtraining issue, poor eating habits. So I think you can definitely get in much better shape. You can totally change your entire perspective if you do this right. And for me, it has been actually a fantastic journey. I feel like the best. You know, like I said, I'm not an either end. I'm not like obsessively overtraining and under eating. Absolutely not. I'm not doing like, oh, free everything, right? Not that either. Now it's just like I've learned so much through tracking, through just like listening to my body, keeping my workouts moderate. And now it's really easy. Like I know my body feels, I know what it needs. I know when I need an extra rest day. I know when I need more carbs. It's just you literally like you develop this skill. You can tell. Like for example, sometimes I feel like after my workout, I feel like I just really want white rice because it feels so good in my body right now after workout, right? So that's what I'm gonna have. I'm not gonna worry like, was this exactly the right thing, and can I do this, and what goes best with it? You just develop, you know, through practice and through like being kind and gentle to with yourself, through just like the idea of like fueling your body, listening to your body. You develop these skills and you really get to know yourself. And this is where you don't need like super structured, rigid rules anymore. And it's actually really, really awesome feeling. So this is what I have for you today. I hope this episode resonated with some of you. If you need any help, if you have any questions, please reach out, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Take care.